This is a Linux shell. I've even got some other shells in here. PowerShell, CMD or command prompt, and there's also a Kali Linux. So these are different variations of Linux, which is the OS that we'll be talking a lot about in this course. Hello, welcome back to the channel, and we are going over Roppers Academy, the best place to take your first steps into security. So welcome to the Computing Fundamentals. Now this course covers everything we need to know for the fundamentals. Improving ourselves, having the right mindset, the Linux command line, building a virtual environment, basics of Linux, advanced Linux, and even getting into program and hardware. So head over to roppers.org if you want to study along, and let's get into the course overview. Hey, I'm Dennis, the person behind Hoppers Roppers. So this is Dennis, just hacking like a boss, independent security researcher who is into education, malware command control, and just generally good at cybersecurity and loves sharing his knowledge. So this is the first course in the roadmap. So we can see here we're starting with computing fundamentals together. We're going over the basics, and then there are more courses by Dennis. So something to look forward to is we have a certificate awaiting us as we go through this. Actually, there's 3 in total. It's honestly great if you're a web developer, AI engineer, or even me who I'm in education, and I've honestly gained a lot of confidence from taking this course in the past. So even Dennis says here he's not into videos and he doesn't find them useful. I actually totally agree. If you're someone who needs to read and prefers to read, awesome. If you're someone who just needs a bit more visual aid, then videos are great, but I too would highly recommend that you go through and you read and you build a discipline for reading course material. All right, next up, the shell, the command line interface for power users. It's how we interact with the machine. On the right here, I've just opened up Windows Terminal. If you're running a Windows machine, you can open up PowerShell, CMD, or the new Windows Terminal. And I actually have Linux kernel, which you'll get into more. This is a Linux shell. I've even got some other shells in here. PowerShell, CMD or command prompt, and there's also a Kali Linux. So these are different variations of Linux, which is the OS that we'll be talking a lot about in this course. So we've got a link to Brian Fox, who is the original author of the Bash shell. So the focus here is the shells running on the operating system. So I'm using Windows right now, and I have a shell right here on my operating system. And the point of this course is to learn the Linux operating system. So let's take a little bit more of a look into the shell and how we actually interact with our computer. So this window here is our shell. This $sign in my case is what's referred to as the prompt. Next to it is a little tilde sign, which just in this case is indicating where we are. So this is like our directory, and in this case it's our home. And then we have the user and at the computer name that we're at. So all together, this is showing us who we are, where we are, what system we're on, and where to type. So instead of just opening a program, in this case we have a command is essentially a program, and we run the command followed by some sort of argument. So we can run a command and then an argument. That's the format. So as an example, we can run ls, which just lists out the current directories. We can run ls dot, which means that's our argument, and we just want to ls the current directory, which is the same output because that's what it does by default. But we can also add switches in, which is essentially like a setting. If we run a program and we change a setting, we can use this dash in Linux to indicate, hey, this is going to be a switch, this is going to be a flag, this is going to be a setting, and then we can pass that through. So in this case, we want to follow it with like a dash L, A, H, there's all these different switches. Let's try a dash L, which lists out the contents in a list-like format. The better you get at typing and interacting with a shell, the faster you'll get and the more efficient you'll get at running your programs. So let's use the Linux in the browser. You can scroll down here and you can get your terminal. So ls-l like we were doing, we can see similar results whether we're running Linux locally or we're running a different version, in this case a remote system. As it says there, important to note who we're logged in as. So you can run a command like who am I, and we're actually as the root user, which is the topmost level user. So we can run hello world together. Echo is a command and a hello world is the argument we're passing through the command. We're seeing that command again ls and again ls-l, which is our switch in this case. So for making a file, if we echo hello world and we use what's known as a redirect, and we can redirect the output, which usually just goes to our terminal. Instead, we can put it in a new file, for example. And when we ls again, we see the file that we created, and we go ahead and run cat, which means concatenate or display the contents, and we can see the hello world there. So we also have another switch. So sometimes you can sort of like put all the letters together, depending on the command. Some commands you can't run it like that. That's sort of our first interaction, which is kind of fun. If you're totally new to Linux, it starts to feel better and better the more that we use the terminal. All right, next section is our course layout. So it's a self-guided course. I'm hoping that we can take it together and have some fun. 100, 200, or even more hours that we've seen. And we've just got more detail around the sections that we're going into, improving ourselves and our mindset, which I'm a big advocate for. And I'm glad that Dennis puts this stuff in the course. I think it's really important. And then after all that, we're going to continue going through the skills, the hard skills of building our lab and our learning Linux. And we'll also have a CTF, which is very excited. And what I'm still really getting into is programming. So that'll be fun to go over. And I think Python, totally agree, best language to learn. If you want to work in a group, then that's awesome. Dennis is totally leaves that up to you. I hope that this is sort of like a remote work group that we're going through. So it'd be nice if you do it along with me. It is up to you how you want to structure this. If you want to go through it 100%, I'll be doing that, so you can happily do that with me. Otherwise, if you want to skip along to the skills, of course, do that. All right, next section. So Roppers, your resume and your portfolio building. So I'm actually interested in why you're taking this course. Personally, I'm doing it for the channel and for you, but also for me. I find that these skills build a lot of confidence in myself, and I've definitely forgot a lot of the fundamentals since I've last taken this course. So it's a good refresher if you want to go through it again. And definitely getting some professional development evidence is a part of why I'm doing it. Certificates are just something that are easy to share, easy to show people. And yeah, if you're getting hired or you're going to go for a promotion, free certificates all up. I have 1 out of 3, so I'm excited to get all of them this time. I couldn't agree more with Dennis's approach here. Learning how to write properly and technical writing is something that we should all do. Building your own website, taking your assignments and turn them into blog posts, even the projects that we make in Python, showing the code, and 2 CTF problems, writing them up, posting them to your site. Chef kiss. Mwah. Just perfect. Great, and that brings us to our last section for our course overview, which is support Roppers. For people to give away free education, I think is really important to our industry and just to us as people. It really means something when people who have the skills package that up and give it away for free. Dennis makes it quite clear that it's not a marketing ploy. There's no hidden paywall or fees or anything like that. It's just genuinely trying to help people break into industry. It's actually commendable work. So yeah, if you'd like to support Dennis, I'm not affiliated with Dennis at all. As of recording, maybe we could do something in the future, Dennis, let me know. But I am just a fan. I'm just a student. I love what he's done, and honestly, he sets a bar for what cybersecurity education can be, and it's something admirable. Awesome. So that is the completed course overview. Hope you've enjoyed so far. The plan is to do 1 video per section, but the sections are quite big, so we'll be breaking it up. We'll be figuring it out as we go, and I would really appreciate your feedback going through this. Is this something that you want to see? Do you want me to do things differently? Would you prefer me to read more, read less? What do you want to see? I'm totally open for suggestions and just learning together and growing together. I think it's exciting. So yeah, if you want to come along the journey with me, I'm more than happy to have you along the way. Let's have some fun and let's learn about cybersecurity. With all that being said, thank you so much for tuning in and making it through the video. If you want to leave a like, I'd appreciate it. If you want to leave some love, feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.